engine is still stopped.
For launch. GC, go. Guidance, go. Fido, go. Prop, go. GNC, go. Max, go. Eagle, go. Ecom,
go. Pending final steps to cabin link check.
3, 2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the Rift Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you can need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural. From comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Hi, hello, all creepy little weirdos. Welcome again to another episode of Horror, History, and Hauntings Podcast. I'm your host, Christina Spencer, and I will be your tour guide through the realms of the paranormal, the supernatural, or the just plain weird. Tonight, I have a wonderful guest for you to. Words. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I just want to say thank you, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe so you won't miss any episodes in the future. Before further ado, I just want to get started here. Now, they say that the Eastern Panther is extinct. They say it's gone, erased from the wilds of the Northeast, a relic of history, nothing more than a legend. But deep in the forest of Maine, something is still being seen. Large shadows slipping between trees, unmistakable screams echoing across logging roads. Tracks that shouldn't exist. And on April 2nd, 2022, one researcher didn't just collect reports, but she had her own encounter as a young girl. In Cushing, Maine, she witnessed what she describes as a juvenile mountain lion. She, the intrepid person that she is, searched the area. She found the tracks and she cast it. And that moment only strengthened her mission to prove that the Eastern Panther may still roam the state. Tonight, we're joined by cryptid researcher, founder of Eastern Ghost Cat Research, and host of the Ghost Cats and Cryptids Podcast. Welcome to the stage, Jean Tewksbury. Welcome aboard.
Hey,
That
thanks for
was
having me.
I stumbled through it, but we made it. How
Yeah.
you doing?
Hey, I stumble through a lot, so don't feel bad.
I have my good days and bad days, but words sometimes blah blah.
Oh yeah, I know. I spit and sputter. It comes out in the end, but I do spit and sputter.
Exactly. For people that don't know about Jean, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get started with the questions.
All right. My name is Jean Tewksbury. I live in Maine. I grew up in the coastal town of Rockland. I have had an interest in cryptids since the age of 7, starting with Sasquatch. And then over the years, as I got older, my fascination with Sasquatch continued. Then I started working at the ICM and was introduced to the mystery cats of Maine, thinking it was Black Panthers. I found out I was wrong. It was mountain lions. I had an argument with the gentleman who runs the establishment, saying that they're not extinct, and he said they were. And it went back and forth. I found out I was wrong. He was right. And it fueled me to start looking into what was going on, because as a child in Maine, growing up on the coast, it was unusual to have sightings of like bears and moose. Nowadays it's more so common, bobcats, anything like that. But you would get stories from people saying, you know, they saw a moose or a mountain lion or a bear, and rare it was, but it wasn't uncommon. So to find out that the state actually considered them extinct, I found a little strange, and started looking into it, collecting newspaper articles and stuff. And sure enough, in 2018, they declared them extinct in the state of Maine and removed them from the endangered species list.
Oh, wow.
And then I had my sighting in 2022, and it just fueled that fire. I've been over on people's properties. I've documented sightings for people. It's just, to me, a fascinating subject.
Wonderful. And like, what first drew you to the Eastern Panther specifically, rather than Bigfoot or other cryptids that you were interested in?
I was still very interested in Bigfoot. It was just when I had my sighting, I came to the conclusion that yes, I love Sasquatch. I will always research it. I know a lot of wonderful people that actually research it, and I was like, there's a lot of people that actually focus on that subject, but there's not many that focus on the Eastern Panther. So I decided that that was something that I wanted to do. Was I wanted to make it a focus, make it a priority to see what I could find and give people a way to actually be able to feel like they could actually share their stories without being told that they were crazy, or didn't see what they saw. And
Right? Because that's their truth. Like, you don't want
it
to,
just, the list goes on and on.
right? You don't want to belittle anybody's experience. Like, especially when you're talking about animals that possibly, you know, were pushed out of their natural environment. Doesn't mean that they're all gone. It just means that maybe they're more elusive.
Yeah,
Hi,
the way
Anna.
I always say it is, you know, if you were hunted to the point of extinction, won't you learn to stay away from what put you in that situation in the first place?
Exactly. Exactly. I agree with that. Hi, Sam. Welcome. Welcome.
Hey, Sam.
Wish I didn't have to be up at 4 a.m. I'll make sure to watch it tomorrow. Subscribed and liked. Have a great night. Thank you, Ohio. Appreciate that. Sam's awesome. I am subbed and I liked also. Thank you. Mwah, kisses. And of course, Sam's like, Gene! And she's
Sam
like,
is
I'm here,
awesome.
love.
Yes.
Woo, woo, we are our Gene. We love our Gene.
Oh.
Adam says, hey, Gene.
Oh, that's my brother.
I
My
love
little
that.
brother.
Tom says, hi.
Hi.
And Tom says, hello from Belgium. He's coming all the way from Belgium tonight. Welcome, Tom. Thank you again for popping in. All right. So I just wanted to touch because there was a lot of them popping up. So I just wanted to touch on the chat. I don't want to leave them out of the equation.
Oh, no. The chat is always awesome. I love getting
I
involved
love
with
the
the chat.
Yeah, most definitely. It makes it for me. Now, at what point did you realize it wasn't just an interest, but it became like a personal mission of yours?
The sighting I had, like I said, that started it all as a mission to try to find out what is actually going on, what's out there.
What's out there.
Yeah. I started, as soon as I had my sighting, I reached out to the former state biologist who had them declared extinct in 2018. I reached out to newspaper journalists who had done numerous articles on the subject, like V. Paul Reynolds, Lee Emmons, and a couple others. It was just to see what I could find, what their attitudes towards it was and stuff. And they both were really, really wonderful. V ended up giving me like different locations where I could find more of his articles. Plus, when his articles went out, people would end up sending like questions or statements of their sightings and stuff. So he made sure that I had access to those. Lee was in my area. He now no longer does reporting, but when he did, he worked for the Lincoln County News, and we spoke over the phone. And he told me, you know, the stuff that he had learned. I had the articles that he had written, and he told me straight up I could use anything that he had put out there.
Oh,
you
wow.
know, just in as so it was nice being able to connect with people that had gotten the stories and stuff. And like Mr. Reynolds said, you know, he does a lot with, he actually is the editor for the Northwood Sporting Journal. And he would talk to people, and he said it's really hard to debate with some of these people because they're hunters. They know the difference between a bobcat. They know the difference between that. But you also can't just say, yes, that's what you saw, because we didn't see it. You know, all we can do is take the story, take the information. And when I talk to people who had sightings and stuff, I never ask, what did the cat look like? I always say, what did you see? What did the animal look like? What color? What size? Because even
non-leading questions.
Yeah, non-leading questions. And even the state biologist, and he's very right. You know, your eyes can be deceiving. They can play tricks on you. You know, you have to really question a lot of what you see and stuff. And I questioned what I saw because at the time I didn't realize that small, you know, panthers were rust colored with black spots. I knew that, you know, they were tawny colored as adults and stuff. And I literally, when I'm having my setting, thought I was going to hit this little leopard running up the road. And I'm like, wait a minute, Maine doesn't have leopards. What the heck is going on here?
This?
You know? Yeah.
Right.
So.
Now, from what you've already stated, that it's very frustrating because, you know, they've disavowed basically that it exists now, and they've filed it under extinct. Is there anything else, or would you say that that's the most frustrating thing about when you're discussing the Eastern Panther? Is it the fact that they get dismissed, or?
Well, that's frustrating. The other part that's frustrating is when I started doing this, I did an interview just a couple months into switching over my research, and I had a gentleman, because it was a call-in show, and somebody called in and says, you realize you're opening a can of worms because they're going to shut down logging areas. They're going to cut back on hunting and stuff. So I had sat down with, like I said, on the phone with the state biologist, but my current one, and they kept saying, no, it's mistruths, nothing changes. But you can't get a straight answer, because I've had people ask me, well, what would legislation be like if they were still around and stuff? I don't know, because I can't get a straight answer, and that's very frustrating.
Oh yeah. I can't imagine that frustration because you don't honestly know whether your government's going to back you on it or whether they're going to disavow it and try to cover it up with, when you get money involved. You know what I mean? With the logging industries and the different companies that benefit by not having those specific creatures off the endangered species list. Like,
Yeah, I mean, so if they're back here, they'd have to be put back on it because there's very limited. So yeah, you would think that something's going to change, but I can't get a straight answer on it.
like
So
what
that,
would change? How would it affect people?
yeah,
Would there be, some sort of conservation or what? Because like it seems like they don't know exactly. It's like I always wondered too when they find creatures that because we don't know as much as we think we do, and that's my opinion. And we're always finding creatures and animals that we thought were extinct or that we never knew existed. So
that's
it's
right.
like, you know, what do you do if you find something like an Eastern Panther? Because by nature they're predatory, but in the same they're a rare thing, especially if they've traveled that far north.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like I said that on my show on Sunday, I said the thing that stinks about humans is we are so arrogant that we think we know everything. And when I gave my first talk on cryptozoology and stuff, it was in 2019. And I was saying how that was the best year ever to have to do a talk on the stuff, because I was able to talk about things like the coelacanth that was discovered and the thylacine that's extinct. But I was actually able to discuss
Didn't
animals
they
that had been
just
rediscovered, like the Galapagos, there was a Galapagos tortoise that was extinct for like 100 years that was rediscovered. There was a brown wood snake that went extinct in the 1800s that was rediscovered. But then there was new species that were being discovered, and one was the Tapanuli orangutans that live in Sumatra and stuff. And it was just one of those things it was an awesome find. But scientists were working in that idea that was a new species until one was brought in wounded, and they realized the bone structure was different and started running tests and different stuff.
That's amazing to me. Like they were in that area doing research for that long and never come
Yeah.
across it. Like and never had evidence
Well,
of it.
they did, but they just assumed it was, a Sumatran orangutan, not, a new species
Something
of
different.
orangutan.
That's wild. Well, I think the Lacanthor, I can't say it. But didn't they find evidence of it again, like possibly still being out there?
What was that?
The one animal that you mentioned,
The thylacine?
thylacine. That's what it was.
Yes.
My ADHD, man, words.
Yeah,
But didn't they, like
the
recently?
thylacine is like one of the coolest animals because it looks like it's a canine, and the marsupials,
Uh-huh.
they have the ability to unhinge their jaw like a snake, and they're the only marsupials that both the males and females had pouches to carry the pups. The
Oh
last
wow!
one,
See, I didn't know that.
yeah, the last one died in captivity in 1936. His name was Benjamin. He was left outside of his enclosure and froze to death,
Froze
which
to
was
death,
so sad. But there's still sightings in Australia of them, and there's a lot of people that are still searching. I know that there's a thylacine awareness group out of Australia. There's other people in Australia that I communicate with that, have talked about, different sightings and reports. Peter Groves in 2019, when I did my talk, actually, he had posted photos on his property, which a lot of people have looked at, and some say, wow, that looks just like one, and others say, no, it's a mangy fox. And, so you get different outlooks on it, but it's an interesting topic.
Most definitely. We're getting fill back up with chat messages, so I just want to hit a couple of those. Good evening, ladies. Joe Ridgely. Hi, Joe. Welcome.
Hi, Joe.
It's Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Oh, Michelle.
Weird creatures in the deep sea. Yeah, that's something that I have talked about numerous on my show. Is the fact, like, it's the hubris of humanity that gets me, because like we only have explored like 10 to 15% of the world's oceans. We have no idea what's in those waters.
Oh no, we don't. You're
So
right.
to say like Bigfoots aren't real, cryptids aren't real, ghost cats aren't real. It's like, who are you to say that? Simply because they possibly have outsmarted us so we don't kill them off doesn't mean like they're not out there. Like, to me, it's more intelligence to think that there's a possibility than not, in my opinion. It's just like the whole UFO thing. It's the same thought. Like, we are here on this planet, we're exploring our own universe. It's silly to think that there's not another life form that developed on some other planet like we did, not necessarily like us, but that is out there doing the same thing. Like, it's silly to me, but that's me though. Oh, Tom, I'm so interested in the creatures of the unknown in the sea. I 100 believe Megalodon, I think she's saying Megalodon.
Megalodon
is still alive. Yeah. Well, there's been like, what's cool is, not to get off topic, it's my ADHD, but when trying to fund some of the endangered species, they created those, some of them are bracelets, some of them are like stuffed animals and stuff, and they track animals and you get to see where this animal goes. Well, I was reading an article not too long ago that because of those trackers, they have some more concrete evidence on the megalodon theory, because they were tracking sharks by using those personal extinct species trackers, and the shark was obeying its normal patterns, and then all of a sudden it stopped and then dove super deep, and it was one of those big white sharks, and it went far deeper than it ever should have and never rose again. So they know it was killed, and what they think is possibly it was eaten by a megalodon, and then inside the megalodon's body, because they could see it moving, but it was far beneath the depth that a shark could go. So I thought that was really interesting. So yeah, I'm a believer in the creatures of the deep theories that are out there. Yep, so many unexplained things out there. Yep, I agree, Adam. Sam, yes, I believe the megalodon, and I believe there are uncategorized animals down there. That's what I was just talking about. Adam, yes, I'm right there with you, definitely. I love it when they're connecting. They're like, I haven't even looked at the chat, and you're like, yes, yes, yes. You're like me. And Heidi shared out. Thank you, Heidi. I appreciate that so much. And then Michelle's like, hi, Heidi. Oh my goodness, we got so many. Bigfoot banter with Richie B.
Oh,
what
Richie.
the hell? I guess he wasn't expecting you to pop on here.
Oh, yeah, he knew. I shared up, and he knew I was going to be on here. I didn't know he was going to pop in, but he did.
The Legend of Maine.
Yes. He calls me a legend. I tell him it's in his mind only.
I was like, yes, my favorite Richie is here. Just like the fascinating octopus. It's octopuses is the technical, because I looked it up. Because I'm like, is it octopi or octopuses? But octopuses is the technical term.
What I thought was interesting with those, though, is I read an article where they say they're alien.
I was going to bring that up and see what your thoughts were on it, because their anatomy, they believe that there's certain researchers that think because of their anatomy and the fact that they are intelligent, but their brain, they don't technically have a brain. They have like a functional electro system throughout their entire body that is a brain, which is hard for us to, comprehend. But they believe that possibly they developed from an asteroid that plummeted into the ocean.
Yeah, I read the same thing, and I found it really interesting because they are one of the strangest, but they're the strangest,
so
but kind of the
smart.
smartest, when it comes, because they can twist their bodies. They can fit into places they're not supposed to. It's very strange and unusual.
And they say they can form emotional bonds. They can form emotional bonds with humans. They go through mourning. They go through depression.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and they
Wow.
can actually solve simple puzzles. Like if you put a treat inside of a jar and put it weighted down underwater, they can learn how to unscrew jars.
Oh yeah,
Or
because
if
they
you
can get
trap
fish
them
out of it.
in
I knew they could do that.
yeah, and if you trap them, they can figure out how to get out. They're very, very intelligent and very
Yes.
emotional creatures. And people have no idea, when they're eating them, how smart of a creature that is.
Well, they don't have to worry about me. I'm allergic to seafood, so
they're safe with you. No
they're
octopi
safe
for
with
you.
me.
Octopuses. The legend of Bridgewater is here. LOL.
Oh yeah, that's Richie.
Hi, Michelle. See, we're having a party in the chat room. Hi, ladies. Hi, Jean.
Hi.
Oh my goodness, guys. Hey, everyone. Hey, Jean.
Hi, Kurt. Hey, Kurt.
Yeah, Kurt's here. Say, hey, Kurt. That's Sam.
Yeah.
You have to do it. W? What does W mean?
It's Kurt. W.
W. I don't know. I don't even know what this means. I don't know what I'm doing.
It's for Kurt. It's
Nice.
his response to Kurt.
Same. Benta.
Yeah, so they're just gonna go back and forth.
Yeah, it seems like it. They're having their own. Okay, yes. I have a Philo bracelet and I'm following the red wolf. So you're familiar with what I was talking about. Yeah. Oh, wow. Hit the like, slap the emojis.
Yes.
Do all the things. I feel you, buddy. Please do. Okay. I'm just hitting buttons. Nope. Don't do that. I've heard of that story. I guess when we were talking about the megalodon. What about the bloop sound? Oh, the bloop. Did you hear about the bloop?
No, I did not hear about the bloop. What's about the bloop?
The bloop was a sound that traveled like an astronomical amount, like a distance. And it was a noise that was so deep that they don't know of anything at that level in the ocean that could have made the sound. And it sounds very, it's not like a whale call or anything like that. It's almost very mechanical. And they have no explanation what could make that sound. And it's just something that happened and they have no explanation for it. It's very interesting. Always got you, Gene.
He does.
Got your whole tribe.
Yes.
YouTube has really been glitchy today. Yeah, sorry about that, Heidi. It does sometimes. Oh my God! Wow! Oh my gosh! It won't let me show it, Ed. I don't know how he won't do it. He's the network head, one of the network heads here. He's popping in. Tips the hat. Evening, ladies.
Good evening.
The doctor is in. Most definitely. The mechanical are artificially made. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the sound.
About the bloop. Yeah, they were thinking it was mechanical or artificial because it's not something that naturally occurs. I said, I think I remember the bloop sound very odd indeed. And the blurp was set at a specific tone that caught everyone off guard. Yeah, that was it. It grabbed everybody. They're like, what the hell was this thing? And why, is it making this noise? And yeah, it was very like a surprise to everybody. And nobody knows where it came from, where it went, what caused it, nothing. Now, getting back on track, because we got a little off there. Now, you said that what made you focus on the mountain panther was your experience back in 2022. Can you tell us basically like what exactly happened? Well, what was your experience?
Okay, so April 2nd, 2022, I took my daughter to work over in Rockland. I live in South Waldoboro. I was driving home. It was just a few minutes after 6. I'm coming down a hill in Cushing. And as you're coming down, always slow down because you pick up speed real fast, but it goes downhill, you level out, and then you go uphill again. And as I'm coming down over the hill, just past the school, there is a culvert area off to the right side of me. And on the left side is a marsh area with a great big field and a house up on top of the other hill.
Okay.
And I noticed that there was an animal, some type of animal, by the culvert because I could see it moving. I just couldn't see at the time what it was. So as I'm slowing down, I slowed down even more because I didn't want it darting out and me hitting it. I had a tiny little Nissan Juke to begin with, so it wasn't that big of a vehicle. And as I got to the culvert area, the animal darted out, and I noticed that it was a feline, but it was a larger than a house cat feline. This thing was actually really big. And it's running along the passenger side of my car in front. So it's like I get the front half of the body, the back half is still on the side by the tire, and I'm trying really hard not to hit this thing. And it's running along the front side of my car for about 50 yards before it takes one big leap and jumps into the thickets and heads towards the rock wall.
Oh, wow.
And
speed
as
going
I'm
like this?
looking at it, and I'm like, this thing's rusty brown with black spots, and there's this long ass tail, and it's like, this thing had to have been at least, I would have estimated about 5 to 6 months old, and it weighed about probably 30, 35 pounds. It was a big cat.
Big
And, but my first thought was, what the hell? I'm going to hit this leopard. And Maine doesn't have leopards.
like, where
and
did this come from? Like,
And it's like, what the hell? So what am I looking at? So I went to the top of the hill because I was halfway up it by then. I went to the top of the hill, turned around in that driveway for the house, come back down, and there is a little like turnabout right next to the marsh where the field is. So I pulled in there, and I get out and I walk over to where it had jumped in looking for it, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And then when I went, I decided, that's it. I'm going to go home. I'll grab my gear. I'll come back, and I'm going to go, see what I can find. And so I went home. I grabbed my backpack. I grabbed my backpack has my I already have plaster, everything all set up in it. And I went back and I found the one print that it left in the dirt before it hit the road. And it was right by the culvert, and it was feline. There's no defining claw prints on it at all. And it was a good size. So I made a cast of it and took that, but I was still looking. And then it started to dawn on me when I was looking up, what could I have seen? And I saw this photo of a juvenile mountain lion, and I'm like, oh my God, why in the hell did I get out of my car and start chasing this thing? Because usually when they're that little, mommy's nearby.
mm-hmm.
And that's my only fear, because I go out in the woods a lot on my own. I have no issue with that. I know the animals around the area, so I know what I'd be dealing with. My only issue when I'm out and I do get nervous is if I come across a baby, like a bear cub or anything like that, because
because you don't want to be in between mama and a baby. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you didn't mean to come across it. It's mama bear mode. She's going to protect her baby,
exactly,
and stuff. So,
yeah, I live in the Appalachians in West Virginia. So, like, black bears are common, and we do have bobcats around here and coyotes. But there's always been, everyone growing up when I was a kid had like mountain lion stories.
Oh, yeah, West Virginia's got mountain lion stories to this day.
And I kind of had my own. I think it was a mountain lion because it was. And it could have been just fear, you know what I mean? Because I've seen bobcats, so I knew that there were bobcats around. But there was something that I went for a walk because I got upset one day, and I wandered off the beaten path, and I was walking alongside like a cliff face. In Appalachians, we have these cliff faces everywhere, in the hills, and it was like I couldn't see the top of it if I was looking forward. It was that high, and I wasn't going to look up because I could hear something tailing me on that ridge, and I could see the rocks falling beside me, and I knew it was pretty big. And I'm like, I need to get out of here. And the first thing I started thinking, don't run, don't run, don't run, because that's what my dad always said. So if you're being hunted by something and you think it's bigger than you, walk out as fast as possible, walk calmly away. So I was like, I gotta go. Okay. And I hugged that cliff wall as hard as I could without being like fear, you know what I mean? So it couldn't come down at me. And I got out of there. But I never did look up because I knew if I looked up and made eye contact, I'm done. So I think I encountered a mountain lion, but I never put eyes on it because I was too afraid to look up and cause it to like, you know. But that's like my thing. We had issues with bobcats, like trying to grab people's animals or like pets and stuff where I grew up, but nothing like, you know, like I said, growing up, people had tales about mountain lions, but I
Yeah.
never actually laid eyes on it. Okay. Oh, chat again. You guys, you're chatties today, which I love. Don't get me wrong. I love it. Oh, it's Howie. He says, Jean, allow me to introduce myself, ma'am. I am the founder and director of RNN, which is my network, and I am the host of the Orion Effect. It's a pleasure to have you on my network. He's a
Thank you.
He's a long time fan.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate the offer to be on the show.
I don't think he was expecting you to be on tonight, or until like I did all the posting and everything. So that's cool. And Adam's like, Adam, so they say that aliens come from underwater. So I'm thinking it was maybe something to do with them. Maybe. What are your thoughts? I think they're talking about the blurp or bloop.
Yeah, well, if it was mechanical sounding and stuff, I mean, you know, we've already talked octopus as being alien. I have never encountered any, you know, alien stuff, but I'm not, like I said, closed-minded. I'm not arrogant enough to think that we're the only intelligent life out there. Because if we are, then we're in a whole lot of trouble.
Yeah, the only panther I have is this one. If you can see it, she's right there on the bed.
Ah.
She's a couch panther. She's not, you know, that kind of panther. But well, see, I keep clicking and I hit the wrong thing all the time. I don't know why I do it. Sam, I've heard the same thing. And that could be an answer. We may never know, but I do believe in aliens a lot. So do I. Hey, made it in time to listen. Woohoo! Welcome, General Tidbits.
Yes.
Here's Kurt again. Hey, GBT or GTB. And hey, Kurt. Well, don't forget, we do have pumas in West Virginia. That's true. Maybe it was a puma. I don't know.
Well, no, see, that's the thing right there. Mountain lions have 40 different names. It's mountain lion, it's cougar, it's catamount, it's ghost cat, it's puma, it's panther, it's American lion, painter. They have 40 names. I'm not going to go.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
So
See,
it's the same exact animal.
It is. And it just, because like, that's what they call the college up here is a catamount.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and then their mascot is a puma. And I was like, why do they call it a puma if it's a catamount? Aren't they different? And
Nope.
somebody's like, nope, they're the same thing. I had no idea there was 40 different terms. That's crazy. That just shows that they're wide across, you know, everywhere. Yes, Adam, I just love these topics. Hey, Carlosi.
Yeah, that's
Carlosi?
General Tidbits, Jessica Carlosi.
Carlosi. Okay, I'm horrible with names. Please forgive me. I butcher everybody's name, including my own. Hey, Sam's pretty paranormal. Yeah, they're back and forth, saying hi here. Hello, sir. Heck yeah. Sam, ghost aliens, monsters are my jam. I have a paranormal section on my arm for tattoos. That's awesome. I'd love to see it sometime, Adam. I love all that stuff. That's why I created the podcast and the YouTube channel. Whoa. You kind of had encountered them, Jean. Don't quite understand. You might have to reword that. My English is bad, but That's kind of my language sometimes when I text really quick.
I'm just
Adam, that's awesome. Right, Richie? Hey, everyone. Hi, Tyler, for 2022. Welcome.
Yes. Hi,
welcome.
Tyler. Glad you could make it.
Interesting. He's new here. Welcome, welcome, Tyler. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Okay. And there's Tyler.
Yeah.
Roller Dog. Whoever Roller Dog is.
So you're getting it.
Yeah. Thank you, Sam. I'm still working on it more, but I love it. I'm talking about his sleeve, I think. Tyler, thank you for coming and supporting our Jean and this awesome channel, bro. Love you guys. Welcome, welcome in. I'm a lot, I know. But Sam, Richie, Sam, glad to be here. Howie's. That's cool. They also called mountain lions painters.
Yes,
Never
I
heard
said that.
before.
Yep. Painter. Yep.
Well, that's kind of like haint too. Like instead of haunt, like say haint around here, around these parts. Aliens. Yep. I'll send you pictures on Facebook. Wonderful. I love seeing people's, like, especially like their spooky or cryptid tattoos. Oh my gosh, guys. Okay, we're almost done. It was a while ago and doesn't match now. Don't know. It's probably something earlier that we were talking about. Tyler's laughing. And then Tyler, you will enjoy this channel. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm chaos running. That's for sure. I love the fact that you have such a unique fan base here on the show. That just adds to the velocity of our network. Thank you, Howie. That means a lot. Yes, we say haint in these there parts of South. LOL. Well, I'm technically North, but I was, I lived in Virginia for quite a while, so I'm fluent in the Southern vocabulary. And Howie, I guess he's getting off because he's got work. And he said, have a great show. We're going to try here. Jean has seen aliens through my phone. Ah!
Yes, actually, he's got some really weird photos, some very weird stuff.
Well, I love that kind of stuff, though. Show me pictures, show me evidence, show me your experiences. That's my jam. That's what I live for. That's just me, though. I love hearing other people's stories. Now, getting back on topic. I have so many questions. I don't know where to start. During your expeditions in Maine, what patterns have you noticed when you're dealing with the ghost cat, or what you look for?
My expeditions, I really haven't found a whole lot. What I do is I'm mapping out areas where there's been multiple sightings over like the years to see if I can overlap anything or if I can come up with some type of pattern. Usually when I'm out in the woods, I don't consider the mountain lion ones expeditions because I go to areas where I know that there's been some, but I set up camera traps and stuff and leave them out for 3 to 6 months at a time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I'm old school, so my cameras, I just do photo. I don't have videos uploaded to my phone. I'm just like, no, I'd rather just leave them out there because I have everything time stamped and, the date, the time of day and stuff. And then I can go over it that way. And so far I have not gotten one. I've gotten bobcats. I've gotten plenty of deer, plenty of turkey, coyotes, foxes, different stuff like that. The issue that you have with the trail cams and stuff is, and putting them in areas, even if there's been sightings, repeated ones over the years, is their areas are so big that you don't know exactly when they're going to overlap into that area again. Mm-hmm. And some it's a little difficult, more difficult than it is when, like, I have done Bigfoot ones. I worked with a gentleman on his property. I started working with him in 2017, and I worked with him for like 6 years. And I mean, I was up at his place probably 2 to 4 times a year, depending on, what time was. But that was a great time because it seemed to have been an area that was very active. There was an expedition I did where we ended up coming out of that with 5 casts.
Oh, wow.
I got a video. I took a video of like where I got one of the casts from, because we noticed that, because the area, we've been in there so many times. And before we did the expedition, I was scouting out different areas. And when we went back during the expedition, there was a tree. I want to say it was bent down, but it was actually broke enough just to bend. But whatever did it ended up dragging it, so there was drag marks, so it would keep it in that position. And then there was some trees that were snapped and broke, but they were kind of piled in a way that I don't know any person that would do it. Like
a structure type
thing.
Yeah,
it was just weird the way that it was done up. But in that same area, I'm awful when I go out in the woods because I am such a bone collector. I
do that too. I'm I guess a scavenger collector. Like when I go out in the woods, I'm like, oh, I like that rock. I guess.
Yeah, And when we went in, that we ended up on one of the sides, I found it was a bobcat kill area, because the stuff had just gotten pine needles thrown over it. But I ended up coming out of there with, like, I want to say 2 raccoon skulls, a couple porcupine skulls, ribs, spine,
Wow. Yeah.
And
I love that stuff. I would I go and I find bones and then I bleach them. And then
that's what I did. The second I got done, I run back, because like I said, it was a 3-day expedition. So I'm running to the local Walmart, so I can get the bleach and some bowls and stuff and get everything cleaned up. Yeah. I'm awful that way. I shared on Facebook a few years back, because I've always told my husband from the day we got together, don't buy me flowers. I'm not a flower person. And there was this, like, a photo, and it was a woman beating a guy up with flowers, going, I told you I like dead things.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I'm at what you would call like the penguin peddler. Bring me pretty objects that you find. Like, you don't have to buy me things. But that's part of my chaos, I think. Okay, couple more. Watch the live investigations. You can have plenty of weird. Okay.
Yeah, if you watch Richie's show, Richie does in-house shows, man, and I'm telling you, him and Wojo have seen some really weird stuff. He actually has a YouTube thing. You could actually go back. I think one of them actually has the thing with the alien stuff, and you could actually check that. It's so strange. He has got some weird activity in the Bridgewater Triangle.
Oh wow! And the Bridgewater, that's up in Maine.
Mass.
Yeah,
Eastern Mass.
Very cool. And Tom's like, I never heard of a ghost cat. I like collecting cool rocks too, Christina. So I hear you, right? A pine cone. I bring home all kinds of weirdness, and I'm like a kid. If you've ever had kids and you're like, why is their pants so heavy and they've got all this stuff in their pockets? That's me as an adult. I still do it. I have a smallest collection of comic book character related toothbrushes. Like we all do. Like I have all kinds of weird little things. Like I have haunted dolls. Of course, Bob, who's with me. I have a collection of fake skulls. I'm a mess. And Sam, Tyler. When I was a little girl, I collected so many rocks. My mom had to throw them away frequently. I had so many, I didn't even know. I was obsessed with rocks and furthers. And then Adam laughed about it. So there we go. We're caught up. Yeah, I'm a collector of weird objects that I find in the woods, most definitely. All right. Now, I have to ask, what was the most compelling experience that you've ever come across in your investigating?
The most compelling?
Yeah, the one that stuck with you.
The one that stuck with me is when I was working with that gentleman. It wasn't the same because I did one expedition with him, but like I said, I went up a lot because he had a lot of activity. And we decided to go up on the mountain that was the next town over, because we'd gone up in there, because he took us up there my husband and I, when we went out for the expedition, but he took us up there to show us where he had his actual sighting, because he had a sighting back there back in the early 2000s. But another time that I went, I took my best friend because she was like, I got to see what you do. I don't know anything about this Bigfoot stuff. So we went back up on the hill. Mr. Seeger was with us, and they have up there a cemetery from the 1800s. It's an old cemetery. So we decided, well, you know what? Let's take a little trek in the cemetery. And
see a cemetery, you got to walk through it. Like,
so
come on now.
we went into the cemetery, and I happened to, be looking around, and I looked and I was like, this looks like a print, because it was spring. So it's like the grass was starting to grow in, but it looked like something had walked there because the impression was deep. And my best friend looked at me and goes, and she was probably a good 4.5 feet, 5 feet away. And she's like, doesn't that look like something tripped? So you've got this big ass footprint, and then 5 feet away, what looks like to be a trip mark. Well, you get down over the hill, and I got a handprint, but it wasn't deep enough. But I actually put my hand in the print and took a photo, and the thumb was kind of turned like this. Like I'm having trouble keeping. Yeah, it was just weird. And my hand was like dwarfed in this thing. And to me, that was a really like awesome find.
Yeah.
It was one of those that stuck going, wow, I have never seen it. I've seen photos, and other people say that, they've gotten the handprints and different stuff, but it was the first time I had seen anything like that. And it was like, whoa,
And that's kind of terrifying. Like when you see those big old casts, and the hand cast or even the foot cast, because I saw a lot of them when I was at Maine Con last year. We had a lot of the Bigfoot guys there, and they were bringing their casts, and they're so big, and you're like, the creature that makes that, to put it in perspective, is huge. You're talking 7 to 9 foot tall. Like, that's terrifying to me. Like, I'm 5'2". That's almost twice my size. Like when people have those experiences, like, I would feel, the first instinct for me would be terrified. But that's me. Like, what was your emotional reaction when you saw your juvenile mountain panther? Do you remember? Was it more shock?
It was. I didn't believe what I was seeing. I literally was not believing what I was seeing. But it was an adrenaline thing too, because it was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I saw this thing. This was real. Like,
and most of the day it was just mainly going around, trying to figure out what I saw, letting my print dry. I had shared it with another person, and they kept telling me, because I'm not one to post my research or my findings on Facebook. And I was told, oh, you've got to post, you got to post, you got to post. And so I decided, all right, I'll just post a picture of the area and me with it, and then a picture of the cast that I got saying early morning research, and I left it at that. And then next thing I know, there's a post on another page going, Jean Tewksbury and where I worked just had, a juvenile mountain and the same pictures. And I was like, what the heck? I don't like my research pushed out there. I'm very private, and I'm not, like Richie will use the word gatekeeper. I'm not a gatekeeper, but I'm not one to put myself out there. Starting to do this podcast that last Sunday was the second week of doing it. That is way outside of my comfort zone. But I do love the research that I do. I do love talking cryptids. I do love talking cryptozoology. I mean, all the weird and strange stuff. And as you can tell, I like to talk a lot.
That's why we get along, Jane.
We
both like to talk a lot. Got a lot of energy.
And Richie's like, no, and I give Richie a lot of credit. I mean, it's his podcast network, and he asked me to join. And it's a great place. I mean, it's got his banter with Richie B. We've got Wojo's Home of the Boom. We've got Sam's Pretty Paranormal. She does Sam After Dark. And to be added to that was a phenomenal thing. And Richie having I don't know how to word it. I can't even get it out right. The words can't even come out right, but I can't believe that he has that much, belief in what I do to actually be like, you need to get out there. You need to get your name. Your research matters, and
Most
I feel
definitely.
very blessed.
Most definitely, because especially if there's creatures out there that we can protect and revive a species, because a lot of whenever it comes to extinction is, the breeding population and making sure that there's enough to breed and not cause any genetic defects. Now, with the ghost cats, do you think that they're coming from the west or the north, or were they
Um,
always there, or
I I honestly would love to believe they've always been here. But they do travel. I mean, there was one that was killed in Connecticut and Greenwich years back. They wrote a book, Heart of the Lion. It actually came from South Dakota. It traveled. It was a year and a half old when it left South Dakota, but it traveled for a year and a half and landed in Greenwich, Connecticut, and got hit by a car and was killed. But in the time that it was in the year and a half, I mean, it zigzagged up and down states. I mean, it went like one way, come back through, went a different way, and then over, and just trying to find a territory, because with males, two males can't have the same territory. So it had to continue moving on. But then when I got fixated on this research back in 2022, I decided I would look up different scientific papers on the subject. And there was one that the Panther group had put out of sustainable habitat in the eastern U.S. And it showed the entire eastern U.S., even West Virginia, Pennsylvania, all the states where there would be prime habitat for these cats to thrive and survive. And that one was really cool. I shared some of the stuff from that. But the one that got me was the University of Montreal did a study from 2000 to 2011 where they put out scent scratch traps below the St. Lawrence River in Montreal. They put them in New Brunswick because there was not supposed to be any mountain lions below the St. Lawrence River. None.
oh wow,
The late Bruce S. Wright, he was a wildlife biologist in New Brunswick, was trying to prove that those cats were still there. He passed away before they could prove that they were still there. The issue is with that study, they were able to get several hair samples that tested. 19 of them came back positive for cougar DNA. There was actually more, but it came down to 19 because you had some of the same samples just in different areas, but it was the same cat. So they had to break it down into haplotypes to figure out if it was South American or if it was North American, because there is a difference between South American and North American panthers or pumas,
wow.
whatever you want to call them. You can look at the
Big cat.
faces. Yeah. But they did the haplotype and 9 of them came back that they were South American. So with that being said, they figured that they were most likely escape pets or pets that got too big and people released into the wild.
Oh wow.
The other ones, though, weren't, but they couldn't figure out from there if they were actually from the West or if they were already here.
I gotcha.
And so in saying that, when I talked to the state biologist, he said, there's no breeding population, there's no mountain lions. And he said, there's no mountain lions in the state. And it's like, well, they're above us. Okay. And they're to the west of us. It doesn't matter. We don't have the cave systems needed for these animals to survive because they need cave. They don't need caves. These animals are the most adaptable animals in the world. They can live in the rainforests of South America to the Arctic of Alberta. They can live in, yes, caves. They can live in the desert. They can live in marshlands. They can live in forest areas. You have a tree that's turned over. That's a perfect den for them. It's a perfect den for a bear, depending on how big the thing is.
The tree is, yeah.
Not everything needs caves and stuff. And then we were talking and he was like, no. And I said, so one can't come. Well, he goes, it could be transit, it could be a transit one, but no, we don't have them. I said, so even if, say it was in transit, okay, it's got to go through the other states to get here, but it puts a paw in Maine, goes, wait, never mind, it's Maine. I got to turn around and go back. It doesn't make any sense.
It hits the border. It's like, nope, I don't have my passport. I have to go back.
Yeah, I have to go back.
I wanted to say hi to Jeremy. Jeremy does the Common Historian podcast. Jeremy,
Oh,
you
hi,
may want
Jeremy.
to get a hold of Jean if you haven't had her on your show yet. Just wink, wink. Sam, it can be addicting collecting rocks. That's funny though. We're still talking about rocks and toothbrushes. Sam's about 55 different toothbrushes I have because he collects the comic toothbrushes. I have a rock that looks like some type of mineral or something. I can't even explain it. That's cool. That's very cool. Rocks are cool. That's, and there's still, I read furthers in your accent and knew you meant feathers. Haha. Just thought it was a South thing to call them that. I say weird stuff all the time. Don't feel bad. And I didn't realize there's a dialect difference between where we live here on the East Coast and then out west. Cause like I'm West Virginia through and through. So I moved to Wyoming and I would say like worthless and tits on a boar hog. And everybody was like, thought I was insane. They're like, what did you just say? I'm like, you don't say that around here? No, I've never heard that. Say it again. What do you mean? What's boar hog? I'm like, oh, jeez. What did I start? I had an uncanny moment at a cemetery. Uncanny, as in surreal, or you might have to explain that a little bit more to me. That's cool, Tyler. Carlos, I'm still going to say it. It was a typo, but I'm glad my people know me and you know what I meant. Feathers. LOL. I wonder what's the average size of a juvenile footprint. That's a good question. What's the average size of a juvenile?
That I don't know the average size. I know the size for an adult is about 3.5 inches wide, and but the one that I had, the juvenile paw print, fit right in the palm of my hand. It was as big as the palm of my hand. So that's
pretty big. I got little hands, but still, that's pretty.
Yeah, it was like right in the center part. It fit right in the palm, and it's not like a cat print's like this big. This is more like this big.
Well, most cats are that. We have one here because we have 5 cats here in this house, and we think maybe he's mixed with some bobcat because he has like a little snub tail. You know what I mean? It's not like a minx where it's like no tail at all, but he has like that much of a tail, and he has massive paws for a house cat.
I've got a moose of a cat. We adopted him, and he's massive.
Yeah, and he's built like it kind of reminds you of like a bulldog, and I'm like, I'm thinking maybe he has a little bit. I may not be first generation bobcat, but maybe because we found him here because somebody just dropped him off, and he was the only one, and he was just a kitten, and I think they knew what he was, and maybe he was the only one that survived or whatever, and they just kind of dropped him off up here. Have y'all heard of the Van Meter monster?
Yes, I have. Familiar. I have. I don't know much about it, but I have heard of it.
Yeah, it sounds familiar, but I don't know. It's not popping an image directly in my head, but the name sounds familiar. Ooh, Adam, I haven't. I need to look up that one.
It's different. It's definitely different.
The Van Meter shooting laser beams out of its forehead.
Yep.
Wow. I haven't heard of that one. I'll have to look that one up. That's kind of like our Flatwoods monster type thing. I've seen pictures of adult ones that have footprints as long as 16 to 17 inches. Is that true?
I've never seen them that big. I have seen huge ones, so I'll show you a huge one here.
Are you talking Bigfoot or are you talking cat? Because that's a big cat.
Yeah, that's a very, very large one.
I know that was an amazing feeling, Jean. Wow. Oh my God, Taylor, that's insane. Sam, it sure is. And Sam's like, we love our Richie. He's a family man. I appreciate him so much. Facts, Sam. He's awesome, 100%. And then Tom said he watched it on YouTube. He sure is. Wouldn't have amazing friends like you if not for him in Wojo. Amazing communities we have built. Oh, that's sweet. I love that. And Wojo's like, hey, Jean.
Hey, Wojo. Trying to find that.
And everybody's like, Wojo, Wojo, Wojo.
Oh, Wojo's awesome. Boom.
Exactly, Sam. Cornbread and roll a dog.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that a corn dog?
Now, I've seen prints that go up to about 6 inches wide and about, 5.5 tall, but I haven't seen any.
That's terrifying. Hey, Rachel's Adventures has popped on. Hey. Oh my God, Rachel. I'm trying to get it to pop up. Wait a minute. I keep clicking the thing. Yep. Hey, Rachel. Hey. Oh my God. It's kind of like how there are them stories of people hearing of Bigfoot just bringing monkeys that were let loose into the wild. Yeah, because we don't, especially if it's something that's not, oh my goodness, guys, we're having a chat. Especially if it's not native to the area. Like sometimes that's where your reasoning skills kick in. First, see if you recognize it in the natural world before you jump to something supernatural. I had Sam, pretty paranormal. I had to search her name because I couldn't find this. Hi, Rachel. Wojo. Oh my God. My favorite person ever. I still believe Bigfoot comes from that animal that lives thousands of years called a giant.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that think it's a descendant of Gigantopithecus. Mm-hmm. And then there's some that think it's platypus, and then some that think it's just an unknown primate.
I've wondered if it's not some sort of subset, because we don't know.
No, we don't.
Our genetic lineage at all. So maybe it was something between the Gigantopithecus and the Neanderthal.
It could be, but we're primate too, so it doesn't always have to be the Gigantopithecus part of it. There's a lot of unanswered questions.
Exactly. And humans are weird. I don't want to get graphic, but there's been a lot of cases of people being caught doing things to animals that they shouldn't. Shame. Who knows what can happen in those situations. Oh, it is. I asked for chili on a hot dog at an In-N-Out in Vegas, and they gave me green chilies. I said, huh? Where's the chili? They were clueless. LOL. Probably when we were talking about going out west and things are different. Yeah, if you go anywhere west, they don't know what sweet tea is, and that about killed me when I lived there. I'm like, nope, got to go back. Just like how they say Texans have an accent of their own. Yeah, I know. I've got a straight up West Virginia accent. How many as a family travel together? Mountain cats. Do you believe? Do they travel in family groups?
No, it would be mama with babies, and the babies she kicks out by the time they're 2.
Oh, wow. So they just kind of disperse. Interesting.
A male might be around, but she's not going to let the male near those kittens because it's just like any other male animal. There's a chance that the kitten's not going to make it.
Right. Because daddy will eat.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler was awful. Also, my mom told someone that she was ill. She was exaggerating. They said, oh my God, are you sick? You need a doctor, LOL, with no LOL. I have a tattoo of the flatwood. Awesome. Mothman's always going to be my dude. Sorry, Richie, love you, but I'm team Wojo all the way. Oh, we're having rivalries. Oh my goodness. They nicknamed me Cornbread Christina, LOL.
Yes, they did.
Because I'm Southern. I guess I would be Cornbread and Bames. Sam, that's diabolical. Yeah, it truly is. Short description. I was looking for a colleague's grave, unknowingly stepped through a small part of the Jewish section. I guess individuated immediately, maybe is what that felt. Dagger like eyes, like one person on my neck. Ew, I hate that feeling. It gives you the heebie-jeebies. Oh boy, I was going to say I know I'm weird, but now I'm scared to say that because that statement, Christina, not getting freaky with no animals. Hey, I am weird, but I don't do that. I don't get freaky with nothing but Sigmund over there. And he could be mistaken for a cryptid, you know. He's kind of hairy, bald on top, you know. It's all good. Oops. Makes sense? Yes. I got you on that one. It only stopped when I felt that part of I left that part of the cemetery. I only noticed it was a Jewish section when I left it. Didn't notice it. Gotcha. I got what you were throwing down there. By the way, I subscribed, so I'll be here more often. Awesome. We love new subscribers. Woohoo! I need a little, like, thing I can ring or something. Chicka, 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 chicka. I'm sorry. This is going to sound horrible, but there was a guy in Kentucky who just got arrested for doing the dirty with the dead deer. Ew. People are weird. Autocorrect is a pain. Yes, I completely agree with you. Horrible, I know. Well, this hours flew by. I wish sometimes I had a 2-hour show. Any like if somebody has an encounter with a ghost cat in Maine, or have an experience, a Bigfoot experience in Maine.
Actually, it doesn't have to be Maine. Anywhere in the East Coast. I've got, sightings from Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, Massachusetts, other places. So it's fine if anybody wants to tell their story and doesn't want to get laughed at, like if they, because a lot of people keep it to themselves because they feel like they're going to be criticized, told they're not seeing what they're seeing and stuff. They could reach out to me. My email is jeantewksbury@gmail.com. You can message me directly via Facebook. I also have on Facebook my Eastern Ghost Cat research group. That is a safe place for people to discuss the topic, tell their stories if they want. All of the stuff on there just deals with the big cats. And that I do ask everybody to please just make sure you answer the questions, which is just basically you're going to be respectful. It sticks with just mountain lion topics and stuff like that. And then I now have the Ghost Cats and Cryptids page on Facebook that is open to everybody. It's just a platform where everybody can share their different shows and stuff. Like I shared this one, and feel free. Because my other one is specifically for mountain lions, and I feel bad that I don't share out other stuff. So I decided that I would do the podcast page. That way there I can promote my stuff. I can promote Richie, Sam's, anybody else that wants to can promote their stuff, so.
I feel the same. That's what I do at my group too. I let people, like, if you want to promote your stuff, promote your stuff. That's what it's there for. I create a community of like-minded individuals that don't judge. And if they bully or judge, they get kicked out. That's my rule. I don't deal with bullies. Oh my goodness, you guys. We got it in the show eventually. Come on now. Oh my God, I read the article and got sick. Like, I'm like, bro, there's literally ways to, like escorts or whatever. That's like Jane Geen level. I agree. That's gross. It grosses out Sam. It grosses out everybody. What do you mean? It's gross. Oh, whoa, Joe. And then Rachel's like, good night, y'all. I love you. Thank you for popping in. Welcome to the Creepy Little Weirdos crew.
Good night, Rachel.
I love you so much. We love you too, Rachel. Rachel. Anyway, we love you so much. And then, whoa, Joe. We support each other. Cornbread mofo.
We do. It's one big happy family. Community.
Yes, and we need more of it. We need more of this community, this non-judgmental. Nobody's an expert.
Oh my God, no. Nobody's an expert.
I hate that philosophy. Like, yes, you can have experience after experience. You can know more than me, but we don't know what's going on and what we're researching. So it's kind of, I feel like it's kind of arrogant for people to say they're experts in the field, because nobody's an expert, because none of us know what we're doing or what's going on. That's the point of parapsychology. We don't know. Night, Rachel. This channel is awesome. I'll definitely be back. Thank you. I appreciate that. Love you. Love you. Right? Wojo Mojo. I would say that all the time. Mojo Wojo. Good night. Sorry, stepped away to deal with the mini tornado. I gotcha. I have 3 grandkids that are the worst at making messes, so I gotcha. And I'm subscribed now, so I'll be able to catch the show. Love you, Tyler. Thank you. Appreciate it. Night, Richie B. We love ya. From Sam. Tom's like, look back, I think it was sort of a guardian surveying. It was that strong. Well, that's good. I'm like, at least it wasn't something that was hunting or something that could have brought ya. Awesome show, y'all. Thank you, Adam. You're such a great supporter. I love Adam.
Adam is the best.
Yeah. Oh, yay, Tyler, another hangout spot for us. LOL. Yeah, feel free. Sam, 100%. Rock on. Yep. Wow, she does your impression of you to the T. I'm just a goofball. I'm sorry. Like, it's just, I'm built different. Wojo. And laughy faces. And that's right, Christina. Thank you. I'm glad you agree with me. Horror might get an Oscar. I love that. Jean, you rock. Ghost Cats and Cryptids Sunday night at 6 p.m. right here on the Bigfoot Banter with Richie B Podcast Network. Jean Tewksbury is your host. There you go. There's your pitch. You can clip it. Nice to meet you, Adam. Wonderful. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I do appreciate you. Sorry I ran over. Everybody was busy talking. I don't want to leave anything out. Jean, would you like to say anything before we close out for the night?
Thank you again for having me on. This was a blast. I had so much fun. I'm so glad that everybody could pop on from the Banter with Richie B family and join in. And now you've got some new followers. So this is awesome.
That's awesome. Welcome. Feel free to share your shows and stuff on the Horror History and Haunting Podcast Facebook group. Thank you. Okay, we're saying good nights and stuff. We'll put that in the exit. As always, I just want to thank everybody.
Is that D-Hoot?
Yeah, D-Hoot! I don't know if that's how you do it, but that's how I do it. But as always, I want to thank everybody for watching. And good night and sweet dreams. Bye-bye, guys. I got to find it. There we go. Always lose it. Bye, guys.
Bye.